It's Dixieland Jazz Time. Yes, friends, here again, that 15 minutes you've been waiting for, set aside each week at this time in the interests of the famous time-honored two-beat rhythms all America loves, Dixieland Jazz. On board again, those true exponents of the jazz from Dixie, the Sextette from Hunger, that songwriting, singing star, Matt Dinnis, our special guest, Matlock, and, of course, the conductor, Dr. Eddie Scrivenic. Designed especially for the listening likes of both young and old, and presented by the California National Guard and the Guards Reserve, this is Dixieland Jazz Time. Our conductor raises his baton. Here's the Sextette from Hunger and their famous arrangement of Sweet Georgia Brown. And now I think it only right that we should be favored with a few choice words from the man in command of the music. Here he is, our benevolent brother of the society now convened for the cause of furthering downbeat Dixie, the conductor, Dr. Edward Scrivenic.
Well, thank you, Charles Arlington. And now, if you'll find yourself a small barrel back there in the back room and fall into it, we'll be happy indeed. I think, folks, that you'll be happy with the song that Matt Dinnis has chosen. It's an old madrigal called Yes, Sir, That's My Baby. Matthew, if you please.
Yes, sir, that's my baby. No, sir, I don't mean maybe. Yes, sir, that's my baby now. Yes, ma'am, you're invited. No, ma'am, I won't hide it. Yes, ma'am, you're invited now. By the way, when I meet that preacher, I'll say, yes, sir, that's my baby. No, sir, I don't mean maybe. Yes, sir, that's my baby now. Baby now. Yes, ma'am, you're invited. No, ma'am, I won't hurt it. Hold it. Matty, here's your invitation. Step right up here. You're invited now. Look at here, look at here. Play that thing. Yes, sir. She's my baby. No, sir. She don't mean baby. Yes, sir. She's my baby now. She's my baby. Have a loving baby now.
Say, Eddie, you know, I'm very glad I didn't take your advice.
How's that, Charles?
I mean about the barrel. Otherwise, I wouldn't have caught Matt Dinnis in that song. Boy, does that bring back memories.
Well, careful now, laddie. Don't be giving away your age now. But you know, now that you mention it, perhaps it is just as well that you didn't disappear. Because right now, you're up to bat.
I beg your pardon, Uncle Edward?
You're up, Charles, for the California National Guard, and then we'll meet our special guest, clarinet man, Matty Matlock.
Well, we all know that the man well trained in sports or in self-defense is always the man on the winning team. And when he's up to bat, he always comes through. All young men 17 to 35 who can qualify can now join the California National Guard and train at home as citizen soldiers. In so doing, they'll be ahead of the other fellow who waits. Yes, as a member of the California National Guard, you are a member of a winning team when it comes to being prepared and ready for any emergency. In the Guard, you'll train side by side with your own friends and neighbors and develop the skill and know-how of a regular soldier while still a civilian. Yes, you'll play an active role in your community and will be able to select the branch you wish. Anti-aircraft, artillery, infantry, engineers, cavalry, and many others. It's a swell deal now in the California National Guard, men. A chance to serve yourself and your community in time of need. Listen later on in this program for the address of the California National Guard Armory nearest you, and then look into the benefits the Guard can provide for you. You'll be glad you did. And you'll be proud to say you're a part of the California National Guard. And now here's Dr. Scrivanik and his special guest, one of America's greatest musicians.
You can say that again, Charles, for here on the show with us, we have one of the original Bob Crosby Bobcats, and a fellow who has helped make many a name band a name band. Here he is, Matty Matlock.
Well, thank you, Eddie. The fella out there in the parking lot told me there was a jam session going on here. So I says to myself, Matlock, you're not one to pass up a jam session, especially if that jam's from Dixie.
Well, Matty, you sure happened along at the right time, that's for sure. Because there's a sign outside, and it says, Matty Matlock's here today.
Well, I guess I'm lucky I brought my clarinet along. I would be in a jam.
Get him. We're the ones that are lucky. Matlock without a clarinet. Boys, make room for Matty. What'll it be, Matt?
Oh, maybe a little thing called Lazy River.
Say, thanks a lot, Matty Matlock. That sure brought back some pleasant memories for me, and I'm sure it did for some of the folks, too.
Well, thank you, Ed. The pleasure is all mine. I certainly enjoyed being here today and hope we can do it again sometime. So long, everyone.
So long, and thank you, Matty Matlock. Now here's the famous five and a friend in this case being a man with nimble fingers and a knack of kicking up a small breeze with his banjo, the conductor, Dr. Eddie Scrivenik. Here they are, all in their places for the Darktown Strutters Ball. That was the famous Sextette from Hunger and their popular record arrangement of the Darktown Strutters Ball. This is your California National Guard show, Dixieland Jazz Time. In addition to the now famous California National Guard, there is now the recently organized California National Guard Reserve for anyone 17 to 70 not immediately eligible for duty with the armed forces. Formed to take over the at-home duties of the regular Guard, and under the jurisdiction of Governor Earl Warren, the Guard's Reserve is for men and women 17 to 70 who can give a couple of hours of their spare time each week in the interests of the safety and security of themselves and their neighbors in time of need. Yes, friends, we'd like you to look into this new National Guard Reserve in your hometown right now. See what an important part you can play in serving yourself and your community. Do it now. Get the facts from the California National Guard Armory nearest you and join the California National Guard Reserve.
Well, folks, looks like we've come to the bottom of the page of another one. And now it's time to close up and say so long until next week. Again, I want to thank Matty Matlock for coming along and you, of course, for joining us. Until next week, this would be Scrivenik saying goodbye, folks.
Dixieland Jazz Time has featured the famed Sextette from Hunger, Matt Dinnis and his songs, Matty Matlock in the guest spotlight, and fragmentary comment by the conductor, Dr. Eddie Scrivenik. This is Charles Arlington inviting you to be with us next week at the same time, when our special guest will be Johnny Chiato and his accordion, and asking you to listen now for your local announcer, who will tell you of the location of the California National Guard Armory nearest you.